Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Parmesha, Department of Botany, St. Joseph's University, Bengaluru.
Welcome to the Botany Open Elective course Gardening and Landscaping Technology.
Containers where we are growing in the containers. Okay, containers could be the various types. Okay, deck spacios or pots, terracotta pots, ceramic pots. Okay, sometimes cement pots. Those we call as a containers. Those containers will be used to grow different types of plants. Of course, different types of plants like annuals and perennials we discussed. Okay, the plant which can complete their life cycle in 1 year or more than 1 year, 2 years, biennials, more than 2 years called perennials, long term. If you plant once, it will be there for a long time. Okay, so those type we discussed. Okay, especially this is for in terms of aesthetic value and beautiness. We are using container garden. This was the example I gave. Then in water garden, the plants which were adapted to waterlogged condition, those are called aquatic plants or hydrophytes. By using those type of plants, how to maintain garden? Okay, so that's a water garden. Okay, so because sometimes so the habitat where we are living, it's a more prone to water. In those also we can grow plants which are aquatic plants. Okay, so those are also called as a hydrophyte. And apart from that, so this aquascaping is nothing but creating forest under forest, a garden created within the aquarium time. That's what I showed. Okay, some of these example I showed you. Okay, how the water garden looks. Okay, somewhere fountain. Okay, and stones and plants which are suitable for this. And somewhere this big aquarium, especially so big west aquarium, maybe it's in Singapore, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so there also you can maintain a garden. Okay, or something like this called aquascaping. Okay, so please remember aquascaping is also uh, sometimes too much question, so you might ask. Then we can, yeah, so we have completed those two and we start with the community garden now in this particular class. um, Community garden is again piece of land garden by a group of people. Okay, so either it's a village, small layout. Okay, small office. Okay, so any company, if they're trying to maintain or grow plants, it's called community garden. So especially they grow for flowers and sometimes vegetables too. Okay, again vegetable garden through community garden is quite popular nowadays. It's gradually picking up, okay, even in Bangalore and maybe other metro cities. So it's picking up. Of course, in village side, if you go to rural side, it's not so because they have a individual kitchen garden and also they have agriculture land. They're not much bothered about that. Especially, whereas in cities and metro cities, okay, so we don't have much space, and if at all if you really want to grow, we need a relatively big space. So that's why we looking at some area which is actually possible for everyone to contribute and grow vegetables and other flowers. Those are all called community gardens. Sometimes individual plots they can lease, they can, okay, sometimes offices or companies will give their lands for this purpose, community garden, so we can make use of that. Okay, so maybe some IT companies or sometimes colleges, they will give some lands there. Students and teachers will be part of maintaining that garden and they will grow vegetables and flowers. They will also harvest and they will utilize. Okay, uh, in hospital, okay, neighborhood, so everywhere, so we can, it is possible to uh, grow plants, uh, group of people, okay, in a group. So rather than like putting one per like effort, it will take long time and sometimes one person can't uh, achieve also. Okay, so what we expect that much. So in that cases, if it is a community garden, everyone can contribute and we can get benefit out of that. And apart from that, in that garden, maybe we can spend time, we can walk, we can work. Okay, so the various benefits will get out of this community garden. Okay, so and some of the examples are there so across the country, but this is one of the best example. It's a green patch community vegetable garden. It's in a Wipro campus. Okay, in Electronic City, Bangalore. So maybe here actually Wipro employees. Okay, so they developed this. Um, green patch community vegetable garden. There the employees itself, okay, so they will come and work in those gardens. So during weekends, okay, they'll take care of those plants. And of course, this is a 100% organic garden. They are not spraying any pesticide and they are not putting any um, chemical, okay, so fertilizers. Instead of they will use so cow dung or organic, okay. Uh, what is that? Manure, okay, so organic manure they are going to use, and composting the vegetable waste and other waste, okay, so kitchen waste will be converted into compost and utilized as a uh, fertilizer, okay, and neem oil they'll use as a pesticide, okay. It's completely organic, so they will grow vegetables and they will consume that, okay, they will take their home. So this is how. So see, suppose if a one man wanted to do that, so it might not possible, okay, or else it's difficult to manage, or you might not get those things. Since they combine together, it's possible for them to achieve a vegetable garden. Okay, so that's why community gardens are very important, and not only just for this purpose, just to grow vegetable. Apart from that, suppose if you have a so nice CA land, okay, so in your layout or in your area, so people used to combine together, okay, so they plant and they'll take care of those things, and I mean morning and evening they can go for walking, okay, do exercise, so that will actually boost your energy, okay, and the aesthetic value, okay, so will be uh, giving you, okay, so some positive energy. So that's why always having community garden is a worthwhile, and it will benefits lot more way, okay, not only just getting benefit growing some plants and vegetable. Apart from that, various other benefits we're going to get, okay. So what are those benefits from community garden? Improve quality of life. Why? Because physical and mental, we are working in the garden, okay, so that's why, so it will improve our physical as well as mental. It's not just growing plant, but we are also thinking the thought process will make us strong mentally, okay, and there's a social interaction will be increasing because so many people will combine and join, okay, so that's why the social uh, interaction will increase. That will lead to so intergenerational cross cultural connection. So because they, so people from so different socioeconomic state or different religious background, okay, that's why the cross cultural connection and different people, okay. So maybe if you imagine the employees, okay, so from technical division, engineering division, software division, HR division, okay, so and some labor class, so everything combined together, okay, they will, when they contribute to this line, okay, the social interaction will increases and cross cultural connection will be developed and there will be a harmony so between people, okay. So and it will encourage so self reliance and self esteem people, okay, if you have a community garden. It's a like a combined work, okay, so combined work. And of course we can get nutritious food without any fertilizers and pesticide. It's a good for health, because nowadays the food quality is really bad, so we'll eat that food by spending lots of money. Additionally, later we'll spend money in the hospitals, okay, to cure whatever disease we'll get through bad food, okay. Now sometimes a smart means short term, sometimes a long run. So if there is a pesticide, so it will accumulate in your body for a long time. That leads to biomagnification, okay. So plants to human body, plants to chicken to our plant body, plants to some other animals, and animals, so maybe goat, other whatever we consume, okay. So like that it will gradually accumulate, and it will lead to some health issues in the later stages. So that's why, so community garden you can also grow good nutritious food. Okay, it's such a health benefit for us. And beautifies our neighborhood and act as a green space. Of course, we can get a good green space by doing this. So okay, and see if you want to develop one garden, one or two people, it will take long time, uh, and manpower required a lot. But if people combine together, so maybe 30, 40 people or 50 people combine together, if they work, okay, so in one day 50 people can work. Otherwise, one man can work 50 days to complete that work. So that's why, okay, so easily we can beautify our space, our neighborhood and make it as a green space. And additionally, urban heat island effect can be reduced. So in the very first class I told you why we need garden, urban heat island, because of lots of buildings, high rise buildings and concrete walls and concrete molding. It will absorb the heat, okay, and it will, okay, emit less. So that's why we are using lots of energy like in the form of fan, ACs. So and also some heat related effect and diseases will going to get. Suppose if you maintain community garden all across the cities, okay, so there's less chances and the urban heat island effect also reduce and we will be healthier. So that's why community gardens are very, very important. Okay, hope it's very important. So please understand this, and it's easy for us to execute in our locality, okay, with like-minded people initially. So gradually we can bring people to work on this. And fourth one is a Zen garden. So again, so this is a Japanese garden, and also called as a Japanese dry garden, rock garden, or Zen garden. So why the name? So Zen garden or rock garden or dry garden, because here the plant component is relatively less. Okay, so rather it has its own unique style. Somewhere you can see rocks or water features and prune trees and bushes. Okay, so not much vegetation as we expect in other gardens. Okay, and mainly sand and gravel is used to represent water ripples. You can see here. Okay, so I mean mostly the Zen gardens used for a meditation purpose by monks only. Okay, so I mean overall, what Zen gardens really mean for it is intent to imitate essence of nature and not actual appearance of nature. Okay, so they imitate nature, so without actual appearance of nature. And in fact, so they found that it's a this type of gardens are really good for meditation. Okay, so without much disturbance. Okay, but some places you can see different types. Okay, so see here, so you can see a little more greenery, but here very less. Here more rocks, okay, and gravel and sand you can see, and even here also they made lots of designs, okay, kind of water ripples. Yeah, here also you can see, but these are all represent Zen garden. Zen gardens are quite easy to maintain and or make. Okay, but Indian context we don't I mean go for much Zen gardens, whereas in Japan, China is a much more popular. And next one is a butterfly garden. Okay, so butterfly garden is very popular in tropical countries. So because we have more diversity. Okay, so in tropical region, the area, the region around this equator is called as a tropical area. World's most popular forests with high diversity of trees and animals, they were present in this tropical area. Okay, so in these areas, so especially even Indian context also, so we have a lots of diversity. So that's why butterfly gardens are very popular. First of all, why do we need a butterfly garden? So because uh, the natural butterfly habitats are being lost due to human activities. Why? So we are making lots of layouts, okay, and building homes, roads, railway networks, and other like economic developmental activities. So we have cut lots of trees and even uh, habitat, okay, so where they are foraging in the past by butterflies, those areas were lost. That's why the butterfly gardens are very, very important, and we have to have a different types of plants here, relatively herbs and shrubs, or butterfly nectar plant and butterfly host plants. Okay, for example, Calotropis. You might have seen this plant. Okay, see in the picture. In Kannada, we call Ekkata Gida. Okay, so Calotropis and curry leaf. So we are using for sambar and other thing, and for tadka, and pentas. See this red flower, and ixora similar flower, you can see, and some medium sized trees or shrub you can see in even in our PG campus in our college we have this ixora, and lantana. Okay, lantana camera is a weed. It grows wild areas. Even some people grow as an ornamental plant, but now it is invaded all across the world and it's quite problematic. But still, it will support uh, as a foraging plant for butterfly. Maybe this one famous butterfly garden is present in Bangalore in Bannerghatta National Park. So maybe you can go to this link, okay, Bannerghatta Biological Park.org. So slash butterfly park, okay. So we will get so much of information about this butterfly garden. So you can visit and you can observe what butterfly diversity is there, what type of species will come and visit, and what are the nectar plants they have, so what are the host plants they have, okay, some other seasonal information, so they will provide, okay. So because so butterfly will migrate from season to season, okay, so that also matters. And this is Tachytarpita, another plant, okay, so that also play a major role as a butterfly foraging plant. So then another one is a Mughal garden. Okay, so it's quite popular because it requires huge space and rectilinear layouts made with walled enclosures. Common features, they have again pools, fountains, and canals inside the garden. Okay, imagine if the garden had to have pools, fountains, and canals, so the area should be relatively bigger. Okay, so this is a best example in India for Mughal garden. One of the famous places there. So can anybody mention? Can anybody tell where we can
Sir,
see Mughal garden?
of Rashtrapati Bhavan Mughal Garden is
Yes,
there.
yes, exactly, exactly. Very good, very good. Okay, yeah. So Rashtrapati Bhavan. So the Mughal garden is very popular in Rashtrapati Bhavan. Okay, so you can see many rectilinear layouts and spaces. Okay, again you have a fountain, okay, so in the center you can make out, okay, so some small pools around this, okay, small pools, and of course the canal is not present, but the canal is also so part of this, okay, so part of this Mughal garden, okay, so Rashtrapati Bhavan. And another one is a Persian gardens. So again Persian gardens are considered as a paradise on earth. Okay, you can see um, the more popular in all Persian gardens are irrigation canals. Okay, so the irrigation canal will pass through that this Persian gardens. Okay, so they have fountains. Okay, and small pools and ponds. Um, Mainly, they are using these Persian gardens for spirituality and leisure. Okay, so people use it for leisure and even for a spiritual purpose. Along with the flowering plants, so they have some shady plants, fruit plants, and uh, shrubs. Okay, so some shrubs also you can see here. So for suppose if you see in the top picture, so it looks quite barren land all around that. Okay, but so they made a nice, beautiful, okay, so garden. So again, the techniques they use, okay, and they choose the plants which are suitable for that particular landscape. Okay, so this is about Persian garden. Just I'm giving some what type of gardens are there. Okay, and some are macro scale, some are medium scale, some are large scale, and how they maintain. Okay, so all across the world, what type of gardens are available. So that's what we are discussing here. So again, um, yeah, somewhere fruit trees are required because suppose if you are looking for sometimes monetary benefit, sometimes to contribute toward biodiversity, because some plants they will produce fruits, but generally, I mean, gardener or people won't harvest that, so that's mainly for this biodiversity kind of insects, birds, bees, so they can use those. Okay, so that's what many people. Okay, so I mean, exclusively grow some trees and plants. Okay, in the previous classes I told you, like we are growing lots of fig trees. Okay, Ficus religiosa. Okay, some banyan tree. Okay, so those are all religious trees for us. Why? Because they produce fruits throughout the world and they are food for birds. Okay, so we have to protect biodiversity. Biodiversity will control insect diversity because otherwise, if insects are more, so that will affect our green plants, our crop. Okay, So this is how to maintain ecological balance. So we need some keystone species. So those keystone species one or the other way. Okay, so we are conserving and we are using for this purpose. Okay, so again we can see similar uh, concepts even in Persian gardens. And another maybe last one here like a rock garden. Okay, so rock garden, so as the name itself indicates, so stones and rocks are main attractive things here. Okay, so sometimes there's a natural formation, sometimes artificially arranged gardens. Okay, artificially arranged gardens, so maybe you might have seen, okay, some areas there are lots of rocks. So generally people used to leave the space just like that, like a fallow land. But later they found that even in that we can make, okay, some beauty out of that. Generally people used to break those rocks and make that area plain, construct something, or else use for other purpose, make use of those stones for construction purpose. But later, so even that natural rock formation, so even there is a uneven areas, okay, still we can make the space beautiful. How? Okay, so just so we have to select and uh, what is that? You have to fill those areas. Okay, so in between the areas with the rock with a beautiful flowers. Okay, so then beautiful flowers and plants, then we can make that area really beautiful. We can create some walkways. And generally the concept of rock garden is believed to have been introduced from China and Japan to other world, okay, Western world in 17th century. So before it was just like a sea, some rocky area, but later, so these were actually filled with many different types of plants and flowers. Here you can see some succulents, okay, some thorny plants, some xerophytic habitat, because here availability of water is less. Sorry, availability of water is less. You have to go for some of the xerophytic plants. Xerophytic means even the less water they can sustain very well. Okay, you can do that. So apart from that, you can see here some more gardens with the rock. So rock gardens, they pile up along with natural rock formation. They pile up some small rocks of different sizes. Okay, so to look aesthetically, and these gaps are filled with different plants. And of course, sometimes artificial falls or streams can be created. Okay, artificial falls can be created, and we can leave some fishes, and we can leave tortoise, and even some frogs and other species will come and occupy this place. Okay, that is how, so we can maintain some biodiversity and greenery, okay, and aesthetic value. And sometimes they believe that in the Zen, um, the waterfalls or ripples of water will bring fortune. Okay, so that's why many houses you might have seen, they'll keep small waterfall at home. Okay, so that's one belief on fortune and mental peace. Okay, it will give. So that's how. So rock gardens also will play a role. If the area, if the land is uneven, you can't do anything with that land. Okay, if you think so, so maybe you can convert that into rock garden. Okay, again the beautiness will be increased and will get some aesthetic value and mental peace and other things. Okay, so from those gardens. So this is about rock garden. Yeah, so yeah, these are the things. Some smaller boulders, some big rocks in between filled with sandy soil. Why sandy soil? Because this habitat is xerophytic. So all xerophytic plants requires quite sandy soil. Sometimes you can use other soil too, and design however you want. Then you can uh, fill this with daffodils, scotch moss, okay. Hens and chicken, there's another plant, okay. So it's available in the garden, sorry, in the market. The lambs here, there's another plant, okay. So these are some of the suitable plants. Apart from that, many cactus also suitable for this, asparagus, and most of the cactus species, and Euphorbia milli. Okay, so those species also suitable for this type of garden. So some will just green and looks beautiful. Some will produce a different color. Okay, orange, yellow, white, like that. So This is how we can make use of this rocks for a rock garden. So then essence of outdoor garden, of course, space, light, soil, nutrients, water, wind, air quality is important. Okay, so in the last class when we did what is that, indoor garden. Okay, so that time I spoke about these things. Okay, space required, light is required because for photosynthesis, um, light, water. Okay, so required for photosynthesis. Soil nutrients, you have to provide nutrients, NPK. Okay, so nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash is required. We can give in different form. Okay, it's either chemical or organic. Okay, so based on what we really grow. Okay, so again based on the gardener who is in charge and how we want. So if you go for general organic gardening, that would be great. Okay, then again water is required because for xerophytes we require less water. For example, in rock garden, suppose if it's a community garden, you need more water because you are planting for flowers and vegetables. Okay, but rock garden, most of the xerophytes require very less water, even they withstand summer condition. Okay, all these cactus, okay, and succulents. Uh, and wind, so wind is also required for this purpose because wind is influences in a way that it increases turbulence in the atmosphere. Okay, so turbulence in the atmosphere, thus increasing the supply of carbon dioxide to the plants. Okay, so when they supply more carbon dioxide to the plants, so it will increase the greater photosynthesis rate. Okay, and also to maintain hormone and other balance. Okay? In fact, there was a study show that so relatively more wind will increase all this. Okay, that's why wind is very important. Again, air quality is important. Okay, so if it's a polluted air, we won't get much productivity, and sometimes we can the plants will indicate. Okay, so some salinity is also playing a role. Okay, proximity to the ocean, the saline air, I mean, it will affect the growth of the plant. So you have to choose plants suitable for that area. Benefits of out garden. Okay, how outdoor gardens are benefits. For example, so human health. Okay, so mainly we are looking for health. Okay, it has to elevate our mood and mental health and physical health. Okay, so the gardening, the positive association with gardening. So what benefits we can get is there's a reduction in depression, anxiety, stress, and mood disturbance, and body mass index will maintain. Okay, so increase quality of life, sense of community, physical activity, and cognitive functions. Okay, so cognitive function, the thought process, the mental. Okay, um, related. Okay, so the mental related activities. Okay, so will be increased. Um, Additionally, the vitamin D. Okay, so vitamin D will be available when you work on this garden, and it increases calcium level, and in turn it will what is that increase. Okay, so your immune system, and it will benefit your bones too. Okay, so that's why I mean working in the garden is good for health, and overall it provide positive effects of physical, psychological, and social health. Okay, so that's why, so always you have to be associated with gardening. So those who already doing one or the other thing at home in the form of gardening, they might feel okay. So one or the other thing. Okay, so stress reliever. Okay, so this gardening, and there are other researchers. So they show gardening could lower the risk of dementia. Okay, so dementia again is a kind of disease. Okay, so it's not Alzheimer, but kind of related disease. Okay, dementia, the risk of dementia will be reduced to 36%. It was actually in 2006, there was a research by Simons et al. They showed that, okay, so if you are engaging in gardening, so the dementia will be reduced by 36%. And apart from that, it reduces the stress. Again, there's some study, it shows that the cortisol, the hormone is responsible for stress. The stress level hormone will be decreased. Okay, so cortisol is decreased if engaging in gardening. And if you work gardening, that considered as a moderate intensity exercise, and that exercise will increase your strength, stamina, and flexibility. So, and again, last three benefits. There are so many, but I shortlisted few. Okay, the blood pressure will also will be in control if you are engaging in gardening. National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute USA recommended this. And there's another research by Gonzalez et al. In 2011, which shows that gardening will increase your mental health. Okay, so there's a 12-week gardening was when respondents were selected, and they include and measured their mental healthness, including depression. Okay, so they significantly improved. That means the gardening helped to improve it. And additionally, so we can grow vegetables, good healthy vegetables in community garden. Especially, you have seen I gave one example, a Wipro example. Okay, so fresh vegetables you can get without pesticide, without chemical fertilizers. Okay, and you can keep your health. Okay, so this is how outdoor gardens play a major role in our day-to-day lifestyle, especially if you are in a, if we are in a metro city. Okay, so this gardening really boosts, okay, our physical, psychological, and social health. And harmony with nature, of course. If you are with soil and plant, you can see harmony with nature. And we can observe nature watching and observation, because if you have a really nice garden, or if you have a really nice community garden, flowers, fruits, and other, uh, so we can note down how many birds are visiting, how many butterflies are visiting, what insect is visiting, which season. Those things we can make out, and we can start a nature journal, or else. So this is citizen science. Okay, there are forums. Whatever you find in your locality, you can report them. Okay, so based on similar type of information, so they will make a report and they will publish a journal or research article. So for that, the information is our, I mean, solely dependent on whatever people are giving all across the world, all across India. So suppose I want some to study some butterfly all over India, but I can't travel all over India, okay, and get information about that particular butterfly. So rather than, so I'll get info, I'll request, send out notice through social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, okay, Instagram. If somebody find this type of butterfly, please report. So then people working all across the world or India, okay, so if they are engaging with this nature watching or observation in their garden or vicinity, if they observe, they will report. Okay, so I observed. Okay, one information from maybe Delhi, one from Tamil Nadu, one from West Bengal, one from Kerala, one from Gujarat, okay, one from Madhya Pradesh, like that. Okay, like that. If you are getting started getting information, then we can uh, made that as a so GPS point, and we can start working on that. Okay, so we can develop nice maps where they are more, where they are less, what is the suitable habitat, why they are more in that particular area, why they are less in that particular area, what is the driving factors behind. So those things you can really identify. Okay, for that purpose, gardening will actually, okay, gardens and outdoor gardens and outdoor gardening will really, okay, so give good opportunity, and we can contribute towards citizen science. Okay, yeah, and additionally, so there are some disadvantages in outdoor gardening. So what are those? Just the chances of Legionnaires disease caused by Legionella bacteria. Okay, so it's a kind of pneumonia type. We will get a cold, cough. Okay, so shortness in breath, eye fever, muscle pain, and headache, nausea, vomiting. Other things we will get, suppose if you infected with the Legionella bacteria, maybe we can avoid that. Tetanus, again caused by Clostridium tetani. This again is a bacterial disease. It is, suppose if we get through the from the soil, it will invade our body and produce toxin. So that toxin again, painful muscle contraction. Again, other name is lockjaw. It will give neck pain and jaw muscle pain. So we have to be careful about that. We have to take, and fungal disease, many fungal diseases will come, and pollen allergies, because if you are engaging in the garden, community garden, lots of flower used to grow. The pollen grains which produce from the flower, so may cause pollen allergies for some people. Maybe they have to avoid. So this type they can go for a non-flowering kind of succulents and other plants. Okay, cactus and other type of gardening. And another one is a Wales disease. So Wales disease occur because of rats in the garden, because the rats are responsible for causing bacteria, because they will transmit the bacteria leptospira. Okay, leptospira. This disease will spread through the urine of infected animal, especially rat urine is responsible for this. Okay, so this will directly affect our dysfunction of kidneys and livers. So these things we have to be take care. So while garden, that's why the frequent checkup with the doctors also. So good. Okay, as you do for other checkup, no, once in 3 months or once in 6 months would be better. Otherwise, so if you just neglect all these disadvantages, so major benefits you can get out of this gardening. Okay, so at least you can keep so greenery for your future generations too. Okay, so these are all like common diseases, but there is a remedy for that. Okay, but only you have to be so screened so at the initial stages. So with this, I'm ending my class today. I acknowledge the photographs and information wherever I have taken those websites and people.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe the channel for more information. Thank you.